Hi guys, so today we're going to try a first in history in this class. We're going to actually try to record our notes so that if you're sick or if you need to look at the notes again at home, you can get them when you're absent. So I'm testing this out to check volume and all of that. We are going to talk about Enlightenment music and art today. In particular, we're going to talk about Baroque and classical music, and then also Rococo painting. So let's kind of check this out. Okay, let's put that up there. All right, first of all, the characteristics of Baroque music. First of all, if you remember the Renaissance music, it was very basic. It was a flute and maybe a drum around a fireplace, or it was just monks humming or moaning, chanting. But now that we see Baroque music, it's definitely more emotional. There are definite rules to the game. So you know how when you listen to a song on the radio, there's always like a chorus, a verse, a chorus. Same idea with Baroque music. Very formal design. It's very, very organized and controlled. You will hear the melody over and over again repeated throughout the piece. Instruments are much more important than voice. That is something I would definitely star on your notes there. As you're listening to music on your test, I'll play 3 pieces, and you need to pick out which one is the Baroque music. And so that's one thing you want to know for sure. This is where small groups are more important than large groups. So most of the time when they have instruments play together, you'll have a group of 3 or a group of 6 maybe. But usually it's not a big full orchestra like we might see today. So I would star that one as well. Have that as part of your notes to look for. Now, first of all, can any of you tell me what these instruments are that you see here? Right, yes, this is a violin. Or it could be cello or bass, right? And what we mean is basically we're going to hear a lot of string instruments during Baroque time. Anybody know what this one is? No, it's not a clarinet. It has a little pointy top on it. Yes, it is an oboe. It's got kind of a duck sound to it. Sounds like a quacky duck that's stuffed up. Okay, so we will hear a few instruments like a flute or an oboe. Not quite a clarinet yet. We don't have that yet, but it's coming. Now this one looks like a piano, but it's not a piano. Does anybody know what it is? Yes, this is a harpsichord. This is one thing I would definitely star for your notes. We're going to play a little piece for you so you can hear what the harpsichord sounds like. But what's really neat about this is that it has keys similar to a piano, but it's played differently. If you've looked inside a piano, how does the piano make a noise? Yeah, you're right. A little hammer hits the string, which makes the sound of the piano. Well, in a harpsichord, the reason it sounds different is when I push that key right there on the front panel, it is actually going to pluck the string, just like you would pluck a violin string. So it has a different sound to it. And one of the things about that is there's only so loud you can pluck before you're going to break a string. So you won't hear as many louds and softs like you would on a piano. Good. You'll see it's the same mood throughout the piece. It's not going to be happy and then sad. It'll be all one mood. The dynamics will shift suddenly. And the reason for this is because of the instruments that we talked about. You can't really get loud, 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 and soft, soft, soft. Somewhat on a string instrument, but there's only so much you can push. Whereas when you blow air through a trumpet, you can make it really loud. So what they did is that they wanted this small group to be loud. They would start soft and they would have 1 or 2 play. But then when they wanted it to be loud, they would just add more people. So they would have 8 people play versus 1 or 2. And that's why it sounds like it's almost stepping off a cliff when you hear the difference in sounds. It is polyphonic in texture. What does poly mean? Yep, more than one. So it means 2 or more lines are competing for your attention. And for me, this is how I listen and figure out what Baroque music is, because to me, it sounds like church music. Because guess what? Almost all of it was written for church. And that's why it sounds like an organ piece that you might hear at a wedding or something like that. So let's look at some samples. Our first piece is done by a guy named Bach, probably one of the most famous composers of the Baroque era. And this is called Sheep May Safely Graze. As you listen to this song, I want you to listen and look at those characteristics we just talked about and see if you can figure out which ones fit with this song. And I'll call on you when we're there. All right, here we go. Hear the strings. There's the oboe. Repeating.